always been a risk-taker. The allure of the dark web and its sinister secrets beckoned to me like a siren's song. One night, my curiosity got the better of me, and I made a purchase that would change my life forever. A phone, an irresistible bargain from the depths of the dark web. The device arrived shrouded in an unmarked package, a harbinger of darkness. It seemed ordinary, but I knew that appearances could be deceiving. I powered it up, and it functioned like any other phone. For a while, it was just a curious relic from the hidden corners of the internet, a conversation starter at best. Days turned into weeks, and life moved on. The phone remained dormant, like a digital grave. But then came the day when it stirred from its slumber. The ringtone was jarring, unfamiliar, a signal of the unexpected horror that was about to engulf my life. I hesitated for a moment before answering, dread clutching at my heart. An unknown number. A man's voice, cold as ice, whispered just 2 words. Job done. A chill ran down my spine. Panic surged within me. Who was this person, and what sinister deed had they just completed? I stammered, trying to get answers, but the line went dead. As the call ended, a realization struck me like a sledgehammer. The phone in my hand was not just a device, but a link to something far more nefarious. The voice on the other end had hinted at a crime, and I was now implicated. Fear gnawed at my mind, knowing I couldn't turn a blind eye. I embarked on a relentless quest for answers, determined to unearth the dark secrets concealed within the phone. I delved into the depths of the internet, scouring forums and encrypted messages in pursuit of the truth. The dark web, a digital labyrinth, offered its secrets begrudgingly. What I discovered was a grim, nightmarish reality. The phone had been used in a human trafficking operation, a tool for communication between those involved in the heinous trade of innocent women. The weight of my discovery bore down on me like an anchor, pulling me into the abyss. I was not just an innocent bystander, but an unwilling participant in a criminal network that spanned the globe. The phone's previous owner had been part of a sinister organization, and now, its malevolence had seeped into my life. The responsibility weighed heavily on my conscience. I had to act to sever the connection to this nightmarish world. But the question was, how? I couldn't simply toss the phone away. It was bound to me in some insidious way. Desperation consumed me. I attempted to obliterate the phone with hammers, drown it in water, and even set it on fire. But the cursed device remained, unscathed, an embodiment of evil. It was as if it held a malevolent spirit, unwilling to release its grip on my life. As I struggled, the voices of the phone's victims haunted my dreams. Their silent cries echoed through the darkest corners of my mind, a relentless reminder of the horrors I had unwittingly become a part of. In despair, I sought a spiritual cleansing, a last-ditch effort to rid myself of this malignant influence. But even the exorcism failed, leaving me with a gnawing sense of hopelessness. I had one final desperate plan, a perilous journey to dispose of the phone in a place where its dark secrets might be forever buried. It led me to a lonely forest, where I dug a shallow grave beneath the moonlight. The vile relic phone was placed into the ground, and I covered it with dirt. For a moment it seemed I had finally severed the connection to the hostility that had plagued my life. But just as I was about to leave, the phone's screen flickered, and an unsettling message appeared. You can never escape. It was a threat, a promise of unending torment. I fled the forest, my heart racing and the weight of the phone's curse still clinging to me like a shroud. The horrors of the dark web had trapped me, and the sinister device had become a silent sentinel of my unwitting involvement in a heinous crime. The darkness had seeped into my soul, and the phone's malevolent influence would haunt me until the end of my days. Ultimately, I realized that some secrets were too sinister to escape, and the web's shadows could reach far beyond the screen, entangling the unwary in a nightmare without awakening. Rain tapped persistently against the windows, echoing the unease in my apartment. The glow of the laptop screen cast an eerie light on my surroundings as I delved into the twisted labyrinth of the dark web. Curiosity was a double-edged sword, and my fascination with the hidden corners of the internet had led me into some dark and dangerous places before. Tonight, however, was different. The sites I stumbled upon were shrouded in an evil aura, their content sending a chill down my spine. One particular site caught my attention, its content more sinister than anything I had encountered. As I clicked on it, my laptop's camera activated with an almost inaudible click. In that instant, a photograph of my startled face appeared on the screen, freezing the moment. My heart pounded as I jerked back in my chair, and panic surged. I had never permitted my camera to be accessed. I slammed the laptop shut in a rush, breathing heavily and labored. I hoped that my quick action had severed any sinister connection. Days passed, and I tried to convince myself it was a glitch or a malevolent hacker playing a cruel prank. But the dark web's vengeance was far from over. It began to unravel my life. My email had been infiltrated, and ominous messages were sent from my account. My social media profiles were filled with bizarre posts and alarming content I hadn't authored. Panic gnawed at me as I realized my identity had been stolen, and I was being framed for heinous crimes. As the nightmare spiraled out of control, I was thrust into a relentless descent into digital chaos. News articles linked me to violent acts, hacking scandals, and even potential acts of terrorism. The police, with mounting evidence against me, issued a nationwide search, and I became a fugitive in my own life. Desperation gnawed at me as I sought to clear my name and unearth the malevolent puppeteer behind my torment. I traced back to the sinister websites I had visited that night, hoping to uncover the identity of my tormentor. But the dark web's deceit was far-reaching, and I discovered I wasn't alone in this dangerous game. With every revelation, my descent into the dark web's murky world grew darker and more treacherous. The malevolent puppeteer left no trace, and the websites I had visited had mysteriously vanished, as though they had never existed. Time was running out, and my options were dwindling. I was the prime suspect in a string of horrifying crimes, and my friends and family had turned their backs on me, fearful of being associated with a fugitive. The relentless pursuit of the law threatened to consume me, and my world became a nightmare. As the net tightened, I found myself powerless to escape the inescapable. The police had cornered me, and I was arrested without mercy. My pleas of innocence falling on deaf ears, my life, once filled with promise and hope, had become a hellish nightmare, and there was no way out. Inside a cold, unforgiving jail cell, I became a mere cog in the unforgiving machinery of the legal system. The darkness of the web had trapped me, and I was now a pawn in a sinister game that had spun far beyond my control. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. I languished in the cold confines of the cell, my spirit broken by the injustice that had befallen me. The nightmares that had plagued my digital existence now manifested in the harsh reality of incarceration. My name had been tarnished, my reputation shattered, and my life had become a nightmare. The dark web's vengeance had trapped me, and I was left to contemplate the cruel irony of my situation. This man had sought answers in the shadows, now entangled in the darkest web. The night, ink black and suffocating, swallowed me whole. I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, the eerie glow of my laptop screen casting sinister, contorted shadows across the room. My insatiable curiosity had led me here to the darkest corners of the internet, the infamous dark web. Against my better judgment, I delved deeper, further into the abyss. Every click and website I stumbled upon grew grotesque and malevolent. It was a descent into madness, a roller coaster of terror that I couldn't escape. Then it happened. Without warning, my laptop screen went dark, utterly black. Panic gripped me, my breath caught in my throat. A haunting message etched into the void in stark white letters. "I see you." My trembling hand slammed the laptop shut, but it was already too late. An insidious presence had slithered into my room, suffocating me like a vice. My heart pounded loud as a drum, the weight of a malevolent gaze bearing down on me. The room, once familiar, had become a twisted carnival of paranoia. Every creak, every shadow, whispered secrets and conspiracies. I was trapped in a twisted reality, ensnared in my own nightmare. I could feel the presence growing like an invisible noose tightening around my neck. The sense of being watched, observed, and judged was unbearable. It was as if my soul lay bare before an unseen, all-knowing eye. As the minutes dragged on, I couldn't escape the suffocating terror. My room, an echo chamber of dread, was a prison without walls. And then, at the window, a figure emerged from the inky night, an embodiment of dread. His silhouette, ominous and menacing, sent shivers down my spine. This was no ghost, no figment of my imagination. He was a corporeal threat. I strained to see his face, to uncover the mask of darkness. He stood just beyond the window, his eyes boring into mine, an intruder lurking in the shadows. How had he found me? The answer was irrelevant. Survival was paramount. I fumbled for my phone in sheer terror, desperate fingers dancing across the screen as I dialed 911. My whispered words carried the weight of my fear, revealing my location and the ominous message from my laptop. The operator's voice offered a sliver of hope in a room tainted by darkness. But as the sirens grew louder, the sinister truth unraveled before me. The wails weren't from outside, they echoed from within my room, an impossible sound, disorienting and terrifying. The sirens were inside my head, inescapable. My eyes darted around the room, searching for the source of this nightmarish sound. It emanated from every corner, an auditory hallucination tormenting my senses. Panic consumed me as I grasped at my rapidly fraying sanity. The sirens reached a deafening crescendo, and I felt it, a looming presence. It materialized in the room, bathed in an otherworldly glow. The sight sent a bone-chilling shiver down my spine. I had no escape. The figure's face, obscured by darkness, taunted me, its gaze of ice on my soul. Time seemed to stand still in the abyss of that room, where malevolence reigned. A voice dripping with inhuman malevolence pierced the air. You thought you could escape, but I see you. I am everywhere. Fear coursed through my veins, and I desperately attempted to flee, but the entity was upon me, its presence choking me. Threats and promises of agony seeped from its monstrous voice, infecting my mind. A blinding light pierced the darkness as I felt myself slipping into the abyss of despair. The police had arrived, bursting into the apartment with weapons drawn, and the entity recoiled, fading into nothingness. The officers apprehended me, their faces etched with confusion and concern. I tried to convey the horrors I had witnessed, but the words felt inadequate. I was left in the care of paramedics and diagnosed with severe exhaustion and possible hallucinations. Upon my release from the hospital, the encounter continued to haunt me, an enigma with no resolution. I couldn't discern if the malevolent presence were a creation of the dark web or a product of my tortured psyche. It lingered like a ghostly specter, a sinister reminder that some secrets are better left undiscovered, that the web's shadows can stretch beyond the screen.
Thank you for watching. If you want to support our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button.